Hello everyone, we are here with the illustrious
Oluwamodupe Oloyede.
Thank you, and my name is Autumn Hetchers, the Meek-Eaton Black Archives Museum Registrar. And we'll just jump right in. For the first question, balancing academics, performances, and leadership can be demanding. So what keeps you motivated and how do you maintain balance through it all?
That's a really good question. I would say I maintain balance by recognizing early on that if you don't manage your time, it will overtake you. So my mom has been always serious about do not procrastinate. And I didn't want to learn by my own mistake the consequences of procrastination. And I feel like last season, I really had to master it because being a drum major, coming early, leaving late, being in band, period, honestly, it keeps you on your toes. I feel like my best semesters are when I'm in the marching band season because I know that if I delay, I'll break. So I think the last season, my closing on my senior project, closing on directing, basically taking 3 of the hardest classes in the department at the same time and hearing all the horror stories, I said, you know what, let's not fail and let's plan it out and putting everything on the calendar and just keeping up to date. And then I realized how much time I really do or don't have. So if I'm getting underwater, I can feel like, okay, I have 30 minutes to spare before I'm really sinking in. Or, okay, let's just do it now and rest assured that it's done. And then also prioritizing sleep when I can, because I just realized I'm not the best when I'm not the best. And I'd rather be the best.
Okay, so give us a self-care routine.
Okay.
What does that look like?
A self-care routine. It honestly it never looks the same because no day is really the same. But I do really good on days where I can wake up when I want to, and I don't have a set schedule plan. I wake up when I want to. My room, I look around it, and it's clean. It's nice. And if it's not clean, then I'm working it one side to the next side, putting things in order, listening to gospel music first, because I feel like the first thing I should hear and read should be about the Lord for the day. And then after that, put on whatever vibes I want to hear. Lately, I've been on the Cardi B album just a little bit, get my vibes up. The Kalani album that's dropping soon. Yes. And cleaning my room and just feeling like I'm taking care of myself so that I can spend time with my friends, be like, hey guys, what are you doing today? Come over. And just doing nothing. I never thought that doing nothing would be so awesome.
Yeah, it's shocking, but it's very helpful.
Very helpful. And watching makeup videos.
Oh,
I love that.
Of course. As a lead female head drum major, how has your experience been leading in a role that's so often seen as male-dominated?
Sometimes it can be testing because there's still precedent being set, right? It's been male-dominated, so it's kind of like sometimes the locker room where guys are like, they can say anything. It's like when she walks in, it's like, how should we address her? And I'm grateful that my head drum major, like my squad last year, I had great brothers around me. They were very intentional about how I was treated, especially when it came to walking into places. Am I confident? Yes. But sometimes I don't remind myself that there may be people who don't understand how to see a woman in authority like that. And when there were times when I would almost falter, they would remind me, no, girl, you got it. And I'm very grateful. If I ever had an issue with something, I would tell my squad brothers and tell my squad dogs, like, okay, I didn't really like how that went. And they would not gaslight me. I think I was used to just shrinking and being like, oh, well, they're just being boys. But they would help me understand that was disrespect, or this is how I handled it, or we're gonna handle it. And I was grateful for that. And this year, because I'm head drum major, I'm grateful that people can see the respect through the work and the performance I've done to be mindful of how they address me and the squad. Like that's my biggest thing, protecting all of us, not just me, because we're a 7-person squad. Like we all have to work together. So with it being male dominated, there are some things that I still want young girls to understand. You don't have to be masculine to do the job. You bring your personality to the job, and our different personalities work together. This 7-piece or however many people are on it work together to be a well-oiled machine to work with the band.
Can you give us an example as to noticing when it's disrespect versus respect?
Noticing when it's disrespect. Sometimes some people just don't know. The 100 is a very old organization, and there's like older uncles you know, if you went to the cookout, who just talk a little differently. And they don't recognize when some things are kind of disrespectful. And I didn't take it personally, but just understanding, okay, I didn't really resonate with that. So for example, sometimes when people come on the patch and they're like, wow, we can't tell you're a girl. And I'm like, I don't actually know how to take that. Because I'm like, I get what they're saying. They're saying we can't see any breaks in the concept, which is great. You shouldn't see any breaks in the concept regardless of who's marching. You shouldn't see any breaks in the concept in the band regardless. But sometimes they're like, oh wow, it kind of really just shows what they think of women, more so than it does what they think of me. Pretty solid in how I perform. So I know that they're not talking about me, but it's like reframing how we just talk about girls in the band, period. We wouldn't say that to Serena Williams. We can't tell that you're a woman playing tennis. Like, you wouldn't say that to Beyonce because you don't really see her as a woman in her field. You really just see her as a performer. You see Serena as a tennis player. And that's what the ultimate goal is. Like, when a band camp girl drum major comes up, she doesn't think that she has to feel like the way she has to dress or the way that she has to perform or even the way that she has to talk and lead has to look like her male counterparts. She can be herself. If that resonates with what people understand as masculinity, you probably should just rephrase that dominance and masculinity are one and the same. You know, like, you can have an authoritative, direct woman like Angela Bassett or like your teachers in school, and that not be equated to masculinity.
Beautiful.
Amazing. And actually, going into personality, we're going to talk about your band style. You recently gone viral for the way that you've been bringing it off. So what is the inspiration behind your unique style of that?
Wow, thank you. I would say that my style is definitely like a amalgamation of a lot of the greats before me. There's concept, of course, that every drum major should have, and that's what I'm saying, like, bring your personality to the job. Like, every drum major before me would say, I know that this is my bag, or even our drum major instructor, he says I do big moves because I'm a big guy. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not that. So he was helping me realize, okay, what is it that naturally comes out when you start performing? Use that. And for me, that was like in the Bring Off tunnel, the drum majors who went before me. Tim Barber didn't perform in that Bring Off, but seeing how, okay, you gotta have quick feet. Okay, add the quick feet. But then I love using my cape, so I'm gonna add my cape in there. I love big movements. I like turning. I like looking like I'm in the moment. So not over calculating it and really seeing what naturally comes out. And what naturally came out went viral. So I think it worked. So I would say the 100 has eras, and they kind of follow each director. So the Dr. Foster era was 1946 up until 1996 when he stepped down as the chief director of the bands. Of course, through the early 90s and late 80s, Dr. White was coming in, the second director was coming in, but you could see that change in the 100, that 96, 98 era. So before then, it was very militant, very, very militant. You can see the drills, the pictures were very precise, and that's always what we want to go for. But then we started changing some more picture shows, like putting actual pictures on the field. And we call that band style follow the leader. So there'll be like one person leading an entire string of a line, and then you would see how the formation formulates from one person or many one persons. Now it's follow your own assignment. It's like orchestrated chaos that eventually becomes one set drill. And in the Dr. Chipman era, I would say, the Dr. Chipman era is a continuation of the glory. Like, now we're doing even more performances. But in terms of the marching styles, I would say it started very, very militant and precise. Then it became more showy, and I'll make a word up, swagnificent. Like, you were just getting more swag into it, because that's also when the dance organizations came into the band. So the 89, that's when the strikers were made, and like the dance organizations like attacked. So that would infiltrate the dance routine, which would then infiltrate people's persona, which would then infiltrate the shows that you see, like in the Bring Off, where people are like showing their city. When the tubas are bringing it off, and you see them do step and slide, like they got on some skates, because they're from Miami, right? But when you're from Atlanta, it's like, okay, how do you show yourself? You just have a ball of energy, like a ball of energy. So that's how things were incorporated. Tim Barber brought in that pageantry, and that era, the era of drum majors came in where they brought in more cape and more baton tricks and more flips, and it's just like, wow, what? We seeing y'all do splits, we're seeing y'all make different shapes. That's where people's personalities benefit the job, and style kind of changes. But the beautiful thing about our concept as the 100 is you could have come up in 56 and came to homecoming now, and you would still be doing the same thing. It's only the smallest things that change. The smallest things that change throughout time. And that's what I love about our tradition. You could be 83 years old, and if you want to come march, you could still hang. You could still hang.
Okay, and what is Dupe's favorite era of the Marching 100?
What's my favorite era? The video that inspired me the most is called the 2006 Bring Off from the Marching 100. And this is where I shout out the clarinets. The clarinets were humping. They were marching. It didn't matter if that person was 4'2" or 6'3". You could see that 90, that precision, that snap, 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 snap. And everybody, even though they had varying heights, they just looked so tall. They looked so, they had so much pride about how they moved. And I wouldn't say that's like the best era, but like that's what attracted my eye. If anything, I would say that the early 2000s attracted my eye in terms of the showmanship. Musically, I think we're in a great spot. The musicians are amazing. The arrangements are great. The creativity is all coming together. And in terms of the culture, I always reference the Dr. White, Dr. Foster era of that time, like the late 80s and 90s, where the 100 was just taking America and the international seas by storm. Like, you would see the 100 everywhere. So those are my favorite eras.
And I will say, a few great people have come out to Marching 100. Actually, not a few. A lot of great people have come out to Marching 100, including Woody McLean, including Bernard Kinsey.
Yeah.
Can you name 3 people that really inspired you that the world may know by their first and last name at this point?
Don P. Roberts. You would have never known that one person's dedication to service could really change a whole county. And I was a benefactor of that. He was a drum major in the 100, and his son was too. He was my head drum major. In fact, I was never in the section with his son. He was always my drum major. His name is Jaden Roberts. He's on to do some great things too. He's in med school at Howard. But Don P. Roberts, when he graduated and he started working in music in DeKalb County at Southwest DeKalb, he changed the culture of Southwest DeKalb, and that's what made Southwest DeKalb the powerhouse funnel that it is today to be a feeder school for FAMU. And then he went on, after he moved from being a band director, he went on to be the chair for the whole county of music. And it's just important that you have a cluster of healthy musicians starting from middle school to high school to benefit the collegiate world. But some students don't want to go to college. They just get mentorship in the band programs in middle and high school, and that benefits the world in our armed forces, or it benefits the world in our legal force. It just, wherever you want to go, the discipline that band builds in you could start from one person affecting the culture of the whole band. James Seda, he is the band director who I had in high school, who definitely showed me hard work, energy, enthusiasm, and belief in empowerment of young people. And another person who you may know, there's a lot of people who I think you all probably don't know, but for example, like Corey Lynch, who was a FAMU drum major, and they just do really great in their professions. It shows you don't have to pursue music professionally to do this at a high level in college, and how you do anything is how you do everything. I would probably even say Shapira Hardman, actually, because of the world of dance and mentorship. I really applaud how he really mentors the strikers in Mahogany, because they're a family in and of themselves. And of course, a lot of band kids go there, but there's a lot of band kids who just benefit by proxy for what he does with the flat chord, what he does with the dance team committee, and then Mahogany and the strikers. It's a community. So I would say those 3 men, and there's a honey bunch of women who you're gonna learn about, like Kimberly Holloway, who's my ism for Tau Beta Sigma, and taking the musical world by storm as well. Yeah, there's a lot of people.
Okay, and then seeing that it's your senior year, what's next for Dupe? Have you been looking at like future endeavors?
I'm definitely looking forward to what's next. I'm like, wow, if this is what God had in store and I didn't see this coming, then I'm grateful and hopeful for what's coming next. And I do plan on going to graduate school. The original plan was Yale University, so I can see my girl Angela Bassett one day. And if it's not Yale, then also things have been changing where I'm really thinking about going internationally again. But for whatever it is, I know that advocating for arts, advocating for Black women empowerment, Black people, period, advocating for arts and education, because we focus on STEM so much, but we forget that to make the STEAM happen, you need arts and education and funding for that. And hopefully being the philanthropist that has inspired me, like the Kinseys and the many families that have come before who have donated to the advancement of the March 100, and supporting HBCUs at large. HBCUs, not just your alma mater, not just my lovely alma mater, I love this place, and they most likely will get the first, but also making sure that you don't forget those community colleges, you don't forget those high schools, you don't forget the rural cities that don't get as much notoriety, and you don't just send funding where you're like, okay, that is the school that I know, therefore I will send that money. No, everybody needs help, and being at an HBCU has taught me that.